The narrative begins with our MC Kotaro thinking about what happened 5 years ago, a memory that never leaves his mind. Back then, 3 boys made his life miserable. They bullied him constantly and took every chance to mock him. As the time of his move approached, they taunted him even more. One of them jeered that Kotaro always lost at sports and video games, and promised that when they met again, there would be a rematch. Among the 3, Akari Mikazuki, the short-haired boy, stood out as the strongest. Oborozuki Kane was the one skilled at basketball, while Mangetsu Shigure was known for his talent in video games. No matter how hard Kotaro tried, he failed to defeat any of them, not even once. What hurt him more than the defeats was the way Mizuki-san, his kind neighbor, always stepped in to protect him. Each time she came to his rescue, Kotaro felt his pride crumble. That day, shattered by their bullying, he walked away in tears, his voice trembling as he declared that one day he would grow stronger and beat them all. Now 5 years later, Kotaro stands taller, his eyes filled with determination. This is the moment he has been waiting for. Inside the administration office of his new school, the teacher looks at him with admiration, impressed by how Kotaro passed the transfer test with top marks. Kotaro leaves the office after completing his transfer. He chose this college because he knows the 3 boys who used to bully him in different situations are now studying here. Kotaro had lived in Tokyo for 5 years because of his parents. Now that he is back, he hopes to meet them and finally prove he can defeat them. While lost in these thoughts, someone comes from behind, pinches his cheeks, and compliments him, calling him charming and asking if he is the new student. Kotaro freezes for a moment, surprised that such a beautiful girl is speaking so formally with him. She kept talking cheerfully, mentioning that the teacher told her about him and how he passed the transfer test with excellent marks. Kotaro feels awkward, but before he can respond, she grabs his hand, offering to show him around since they are in the same class. This sudden friendliness makes Kotaro suspicious of her strange behavior. As she holds his hand and pulls him closer, Kotaro feels something firm against her stomach. To his shock, it turns out to be solid abs, which leaves him speechless that a girl could have such strong muscles. As they walk through the corridor, all eyes fall on them. Kotaro hears the students whispering in surprise. They talk about how this girl has turned down 5 boys already, and they wonder if she isn't interested in guys at all. But now here she is holding Kotaro's arm. Kotaro starts to guess that this girl must be very popular. He also hears someone mention that her name is Akari, and that she won the National Wrestling Championship. At that moment, something clicks in Kotaro's mind. The name Akari and wrestling remind him of one of the boys who bullied him 5 years ago. He quickly pulls his hand away and asks if she is Akira Mikazuki. The girl looks frustrated as she wanted to keep playing around a little longer, but thanks to the student's chatter, he figured out the truth. Kotaro feels stunned as he looks at Akira and realizes she is a woman, not a man. Akira stays calm and compliments Kotaro, saying he has grown up since the last time. He still struggles to believe it and asks Akira why she kept this from him. She replies that she never said anything because he never asked. At that moment, 2 other girls appear. One of them with long hair smiles, saying it has been a while and that Kotaro doesn't look so bad now. The girl beside her with short hair shyly adds that he now looks more like a boy with muscles. Kotaro stares at them, thinking they look like idols. He asks who they are. The long-haired girl reveals that she is Kane Oborozuki, and the short-haired one introduces herself as Mangetsu Shigure. Kotaro freezes in shock, unable to believe it. He keeps thinking this must be some kind of joke. He can't accept that all 3 of those boys from his past are actually girls. The shock is too much, and he falls to the ground screaming in disbelief. Shigure shakes her head, thinking she expected Kotaro to be more mature by now, but it's clear he hasn't changed at all. Kane steps forward, her voice calm, admitting they probably shouldn't have hidden the fact that they were girls. Akira glances at Kotaro and points out that if they hadn't kept it from him, he wouldn't have been this excited to meet them again. Kane looks between them and admits she didn't even know the other 2 were girls back then. Shigure laughs softly, finding it funny that in the end, they all had the same plan. The 3 of them exchange a look and declare together that everything was for the sake of friendship. In the next moment, Kane's tone shifts, and she steps between Kotaro and Akira, warning her not to touch him because he belongs to her. Kotaro stays on the ground watching as the 3 girls continue to argue. Before he can gather his thoughts, someone walks up from behind and calls out to him with a confident voice, claiming he knew it was Kotaro. Kotaro lifts his head in confusion and finds himself staring at a handsome teacher. His mind races as he wonders how this man seems to know him so well, even though they are meeting for what feels like the first time. The teacher steps closer without hesitation and gently pats Kotaro on the head, leaving Kotaro even more puzzled as he asks why this man is acting so familiar to him. The teacher then reveals he's Mizuki Akatsuki, Kotaro's old neighbor. Kotaro is stunned, remembering Mizuki's feminine appearance and how he'd always assumed Mizuki was a girl. Smiling, Mizuki clears up the confusion, explaining he used to cross-dress back then. Kotaro collapses in disbelief, refusing to accept that Mizuki is actually a guy. To him, she had always been a girl. The three girls watch silently, judging Kotaro for missing the truth and for forgetting the revenge he once dreamed of. It's clear now, all the teasing and bullying back then was just their way of getting his attention. After school that same day, Kane, Akira, and Shigure invite Kotaro to join them. To their surprise, when they look over at his seat, Kotaro is already gone, leaving them standing there confused and unsure of where he went. A moment later, Mizuki approaches from behind and asks the three girls if they can have a serious conversation. His tone is calm but firm as he questions them about their true intentions, wanting to know if they plan to tease Kotaro again. The girls quickly deny it, explaining that bullying was never what they meant to do from the start. Mizuki looks at them with doubt, finding it hard to trust their words after everything he has heard from Kotaro over the years. As Mizuki speaks, he reminds Shigure of how, 5 years ago, when she played video games with Kotaro, she would humiliate him. Shigure, looking shy and a little embarrassed, admits that she only wanted to see the face Kotaro made when he lost because she thought he looked so cute at that moment. Mizuki listens carefully and tells her that even if that was her reason, she still owes Kotaro an apology. Trying to shift the attention away from herself, Akira quickly points out that Shigure always has this kind of rude attitude. Kane joins in, agreeing that Shigure should learn to think about other people's feelings too. Shigure, now frustrated, doesn't stay quiet. She turns on both of them, reminding them they are no better. She reveals that Akira used to handle Kotaro roughly whenever he lost to her, and that Kane would force whoever lost at basketball to take off their clothes because she knew Kotaro would never win. Akira's face turns red with shame as she insists she never meant to do that and claims it only happened by accident. Kane tries to defend herself, saying it's only natural to feel curious about the body of someone you like, and that was the real reason she wanted to see Kotaro without clothes. Mizuki is clearly not convinced by any of their excuses and warns them to make sure they don't hurt Kotaro again. While they are talking, Kotaro walks in, looking calm. He tells them that he doesn't see any of it as bullying. To him, they were just punishments for losing their games. He explains that he never felt they did anything truly wrong, and in fact, they could have done much worse if they wanted to. His words leave the three girls flustered, but then Kotaro's expression hardens. He announces that they will have to face him again in the same sports they played 5 years ago, and this time the punishments will be the same as before. Akira stares at Kotaro in disbelief, struggling to understand if he truly intends to treat them the same way. Kotaro's expression darkens as he explodes with anger, telling the girls they have no idea what he went through over the past 5 years, years that felt like the darkest of his life. Now he plans to give them the same punishments they once forced on him, but even worse. But instead of guilt, the girls shamelessly convince themselves that being punished by Kotaro wouldn't be punishment at all. It would be a reward. Eager, they urge him to start right away. Kotaro, however, stays firm. He says there's something more important to do first. He needs to video call the girl he likes. The games will begin tomorrow. The girls are left frozen in shock. Akira hesitantly asks if he really likes someone. Kotaro doesn't hesitate. He tells them there's a girl he met in Tokyo who's stayed in his thoughts ever since. She admires strength and hates weak men, which is why he's determined to take revenge, become stronger, and then confess his feelings to her. With that, he warns them to be ready and walks away. Akira's eyes fill with tears as she quietly admits it's no surprise he has feelings for someone else after all this time. She assumes he's probably already dating her. Kane, ever composed, takes off her sweater and wonders if the shirt underneath might catch Kotaro's eye, or maybe a blazer next time. The others stare at her, stunned, and demand an explanation. Kane casually says she's testing which part of the uniform Kotaro might find attractive. Akira scolds her, saying Kotaro clearly likes someone else, but Kane calmly argues that he's not in a relationship yet, so his heart might still change. She says if they want to win him, they have to try their best. Shigure and Akira warn her that being too aggressive could push Kotaro away, but Kanae insists love doesn't play by the rules. In the end, the one who wants him most will win. Without hesitation, she claims she loves Kotaro more than anyone else and tells them not to stand in her way. Shigure, unable to hold back, fires back that she loves Kotaro even more and promises to win his heart before these 3 years of high school end. In the corridor, Mizuki follows after Kotaro, commenting that it's hard to believe how much Kotaro has changed. Kotaro, his anger still fresh, accuses Mizuki of betraying him just like the others. Mizuki's grin widens as he jokingly offers to prove he really is a man, even starting to unzip his sweater, but Kotaro quickly flusters and urges him to stop, explaining that there's no need because he already has someone he cares about. Curious, Mizuki asks about this girl, and Kotaro describes her as beautiful, innocent, serious, with cat ears, someone who dreams of becoming an idol, and is the daughter of the Demon King. Mizuki pauses as he pieces together the details, realizing Kotaro is describing the famous VTuber Fumitan. He asks if by video call Kotaro really means watching her live stream, and he admits that he chats with her during those streams. Kanae walks through the corridor as 2 students nearby whisper about her. They admire how she isn't just the vice president of the student council, but also stands out both in academics and sports. They mention that she is the daughter of a world-famous concern, and one of them admits that dating her would be nothing short of a dream. Just then, someone calls out to her from behind. It's the class president, who praises Kanae for handling the student council meeting so well. Kanae responds modestly, brushing it off as no big deal. The president's presence draws attention too, with a few girls commenting that he looks just as perfect as Kanae, though they find it strange that Kanae stays so calm while he compliments her. While Kanae and the president exchange words, Kotaro suddenly appears, full of energy, and challenges Kanae to a basketball match. He declares that the rules will be the same as before. If someone scores 3 points, the loser will have to remove their clothes piece by piece until left with nothing. The boys watching from the corridor stare in shock, unable to believe that Kotaro would speak so boldly to Kanae or suggest such a daring game. Before leaving, Kotaro calls out to Kanae, warning her not to think about running away. Kanae stands there with a gentle smile, something that catches the president off guard since he has never seen that side of her before. After exchanging a few words, the 2 of them head off in different directions. In the gym, Kanae faces Kotaro and mentions that no one will disturb them since, thanks to her position, she has access to the gym whenever she wants. With a playful tone, she teases Kotaro and asks if he will be too shy when it's his turn to take off his clothes. Kotaro, filled with energy, tells her to stop worrying about him and prepare herself instead. Kanae, confident as ever, admits that even though she hasn't played basketball since elementary school, she still feels sure she can beat him. Kotaro, unfazed, spins the ball on his finger and grins, saying that the more confident she is, the more fun the match will be. Kanae, curious, asks about his ball-spinning trick, and Kotaro explains that he has practiced a lot to prove he's no longer the boy she remembers. He repeats the rules: whoever scores 3 points first will remove a piece of clothing and follow whatever the winner says. The match begins, and Kanae wastes no time sinking a clean 3-pointer, leaving Kotaro surprised at how talented she still is. She immediately tells him to take off something, and he removes his jacket without hesitation. As he does, Kana can't help but let her eyes linger on him, realizing for the first time what her classmates meant when they said a man's collarbone can be attractive. With a teasing grin, she tells him she's looking forward to seeing him with even less on. The next round starts, and this time, Kanae struggles to steal the ball. Kotaro manages to score, bringing the game to a tie. She notices how much stronger he has become and thinks back to how they used to call him Taro the Minnow back then, though none of them truly meant it meanly. Now for the first time she is losing to him. Following the rules, Kanae takes off her shirt, revealing her undergarments. Kotaro yells out in shock when he catches sight of her revealing attire. Kanae watches his reaction with a smirk, thinking that even if she ends up in just her undergarments, she'll use it to throw him off, because that's how someone from the Oborozuki family wins. Still flustered, he tries to remind her that, as vice president, she should follow school rules. But she calmly replies that her father runs the academy, and she's next in line to be student council president, so technically she already holds the most power. She even reveals that she wears seductive undergarments daily just in case a match like this happens. The game resumes, but Kotaro finds himself unable to focus. He realizes he misjudged the situation and Kane isn't embarrassed at all about removing her clothes. His confidence starts to waver as nerves creep in, and he begins to fear that he won't be able to win under these conditions. She lands another 3 points, so Kotaro pulls off his shirt, his frustration growing as she keeps teasing him. He tightens his focus, saying the match isn't over and he's determined to score. Kane, without hesitation, gets ready to remove her skirt and signals for him to continue. When the game resumes, Kotaro slips as he takes a shot. The ball goes in, but it's clear it only counts for 2 points. Kane, playful as ever, treats it like a 3-pointer and removes her skirt anyway, leaving Kotaro flustered. His face turns red, but instead of arguing, he pushes himself to stay sharp, promising to land the winning shot. They begin again, and Kane takes control of the ball. Kotaro hesitates for a moment, but then moves in and a mistake occurs. He steps back, caught off guard, while she keeps calm even though she feels her heart racing. Kotaro notices she looks uneasy and wonders if she's feeling all right. Kane, trying to steady herself, realizes this is the first time she's felt shy like this and questions why it affects her so much. The quiet breaks as the class president walks in and demands to know what's going on. His shock turns to anger as he accuses Kotaro of dragging Kane into something shameful. Kotaro stays composed, saying nothing forced her into this. The president refuses to believe it, convinced Kotaro is lying. Before the tension rises further, she steps forward and clears Kotaro of blame. Still, Kotaro shrugs and leaves without defending himself. The president continues to speak badly about Kotaro, leaving Kane irritated though he doesn't understand why she's upset. Before stepping away completely, Kotaro makes a final shot, sinking 3 points, and tells Kane they're even. He reminds her he isn't the same weak boy from before, and warns that next time he'll win for sure. The moment brings back memories for Kane of how Kotaro always showed this side of himself. The flashback moves to a time when Kotaro is playing with Kane at the playground. He loses the match and insists on having a rematch. She seems willing to continue, but their game is interrupted when a man appears and calls out to Kane. Fear takes over her expression as the man states that she should be in class at that moment. This man is revealed to be Kane's father. The children nearby whisper and gesture toward the luxurious car parked close by, remarking that she belongs to a wealthy family and recalling that her mother warned them to act carefully around her. Kotaro, unaffected by this revelation, holds on to Kane's shirt, determined not to let her leave without agreeing on a rematch. He wants to know when they will play again. Kane's father notices Kotaro standing there without a shirt. Still undeterred, Kotaro expresses his resolve to defeat her in a rematch and declares he will make her surrender fully in the next game. Back in the present, Kane smiles at the memory and lets out a soft laugh, realizing that Kotaro remains just as stubborn as before. A wave of affection sweeps over her as she understands how deeply she loves him. She hurries over to stop him. Kotaro, noticing her approach, comments that perhaps she feels unhappy with the outcome and has come to change it. Kane reminds him that since he scored the 3-point shot, she now owes him and must remove another piece of clothing. Kotaro grows uneasy, suggesting there is no need for that, but she proceeds anyway. Fortunately, no other students witness the scene. During PE, 2 boys discuss how Kane stands out as the most beautiful in their class. Another points out Shigure's striking appearance, comparing her flawless skin to that of a doll and saying she shines like a movie star. One of them mentions Akira as he prefers girls with a gal style. They all agree it feels special to have 3 such beauties together in the same class, and that their presence brings balance to the group. Meanwhile, Kane casually shares a shirtless photo of Kotaro, leaving the others puzzled about how she got it. She explains it was taken during a basketball game. Akira reacts with clear irritation, questioning the need to share it, almost as if it was meant to show off some kind of advantage. She then glances toward Shigure, curious about her silence, but the girl remains distant, seemingly uninterested. The tension lingers as the 2 briefly reflect on how Shigure often hides her emotions, though it's clear she cares, just not in ways she easily shows. Their playful argument over who cares more for Kotaro is interrupted when they spot him on the ground, clearly in pain after attempting a new move and twisting his ankle. His teammates express concern, realizing he has hurt himself even before the game begins. They help him reach the infirmary without delay. Later, outside the infirmary, the 3 girls arrive separately, unaware of each other's intentions, only to meet at the doorway in surprise. Shigure admits that concern for Kotaro brought her there, which makes Kane question whether Shigure assumes they care any less. Her gaze falls on Akira, who appears to have lifted her shirt slightly, revealing her abs, something she had not done earlier. Akira quickly tries to explain, insisting she has no hidden motive. Shigure then notices Kane wearing sports shorts despite the autumn chill, and Kane casually remarks that it has become common these days. Frustration builds in Shigure, who accuses both of being shameless in how they try to attract attention. She moves toward the door, claiming Kotaro would feel uneasy seeing them dressed that way, and suggests she should visit him alone. Kane reaches out, holding Shigure's arms to stop her. Akira joins in, hinting that even Shigure might not have entirely pure thoughts. Kane urges Akira to check beneath her jacket to see if she hid anything revealing, but finds only standard sportswear. Shigure, clearly offended, insists she should not be compared to the others. This provokes Kane's curiosity, as she questions whether Shigure has any genuine feelings for him at all. Akira supports this challenge, both arguing that their own care for Kotaro surpasses Shigure's. Cornered, she finally confesses she spends time alone each day imagining Kotaro. The admission stuns the others. She pushes further, claiming they likely do the same at least once a week, and even accuses Kane of keeping his shirtless photo for that reason. Kane flatly denies it, while Akira remains oblivious, deepening Shigure's disbelief. Still confused, Akira can't understand why Shigure is so flustered. Kane, amused, remarks that quiet types are often the boldest and notes that Shigure's feelings must have intensified since Kotaro's return. Meanwhile, Akira continues puzzling over the awkward tension, while inside the infirmary, Kotaro hears the voices and wonders what chaos is erupting outside. The next day in class, one of Kotaro's classmates lightly teases him for staying so absorbed in his phone, still focused on his virtual girlfriend. Kotaro begins sharing that she is his favorite person, and despite the distance between them, he believes their hearts remain connected. He looks forward to the day they meet. The classmate quietly wonders how Kotaro treats a VTuber as if they are truly in a long-distance relationship. In the same classroom, Akira arrives with clear frustration, wanting to know whether Shigure or Kane has any idea about the girl Kotaro likes. Kane doesn't actually know, but still admits she feels curious, especially since Kotaro once spoke about meeting someone in Tokyo. This revelation leaves Akira and Shigure feeling as though Kane might already be far ahead of them. Akira suggests they view this girl as a common rival and work together to uncover more about her, and both agree to the plan. Shigure takes the first step by approaching Kotaro and casually bringing up the game he seems focused on. Kotaro shares that it's a music game that recently caught his interest. Watching from behind, Akira and Kane quietly observe, impressed by how naturally Shigure manages to glance at his phone and start a conversation. Shigure mentions that she enjoys the game too, which doesn't raise Kotaro's suspicions, since he knows she has played games since elementary school. Kotaro explains that he started playing this game because his favorite girl enjoys it, which stirs jealousy in Shigure. She grabs the phone and begins playing herself, surprising Kotaro with her impressive speed. When she easily wins, Kotaro stands there stunned by her skill. Shigure then brings up how he always thought of her as someone good at video games, but hadn't realized she excelled at rhythm-based games too. Growing bolder, Shigure pushes him to admit whether he finds her ability greater than that of his favorite girl. Kotaro, caught off guard, acknowledges that Shigure's skill surpasses hers. This encourages Shigure to urge him to focus on her instead of that other girl, and to think of Shigure whenever he plays. Later, Shigure reports back, disappointed that no useful information came from her effort, and admits she felt irritated for several reasons. Akira comments that Shigure's jealousy seemed to have grown, and that she herself would try next, aiming to stay calm and draw out what they want to know. Kane also decides to try and approach Kotaro, choosing a polite and direct way to bring up the topic. She attempts to start a conversation about love, but Kotaro refuses to engage. Kane persists, trying to ask about the girl he mentioned liking. Kotaro, growing upset, expresses that someone as insensitive as Kane doesn't deserve to hear about it. In response, Kane begins speaking about her own feelings, describing the person she admires as someone who always loses, often acts foolishly, yet remains manly at heart. Kotaro shows no interest in hearing any of it. Their strange exchange leaves nearby classmates puzzled, unsure of what is going on between them. Kane makes another attempt to get Kotaro to open up, hinting that he lacks the courage to speak about his feelings and that this makes him less manly. This remark pushes Kotaro to respond, which secretly delights Akira and Shigure, who are quietly listening nearby. Blushing and hesitant, Kotaro begins describing how the girl he likes has a beautiful smile and how seeing it always lifts his spirits. Kanae, unable to hide her jealousy, insists that she can smile just as well, leaving Kotaro puzzled by her reaction. Kanae, trying to get Kotaro's attention, points out that her body is bigger and accuses him of sneaking glances. Flustered and frustrated, he denies it, upset that she would make such a bold claim. As her attempt flops, Shigure quietly reflects that maybe her own jealousy is worse, though Kanae doubts she even feels true jealousy, seeing her as too cold and emotionless. Watching the awkward exchange, Akira mentions that both girls clearly have no experience talking to boys other than Kotaro, and it shows. Deciding to take a different approach, Akira invites Kotaro outside for a private chat. She gently points out how he started caring more about his appearance, like using hair gel now instead of leaving his hair messy. Embarrassed, he tries to brush it off, but Akira reassures him there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good. She's doing the same because she's also trying to impress someone she cares about. She slowly steers the conversation toward the girl he likes. Kotaro hesitates, afraid she'll mock him, but Akira encourages him to open up, saying talking about feelings isn't something to be ashamed of. Finally, he starts to share. He tells her that when he first moved to Tokyo, he struggled to fit in. People told him to tone things down, but he always gave 100% in everything, which made him stand out. Then he met a girl who was different, silly, bold, and full of dreams. She didn't care what others thought, and that inspired him to do the same. Every time he saw her, it made him happy. That's when he realized it was love at first sight. Akira tears up, touched by how sincere his feelings are. Later, she shares everything with Kanae and Shigure, still emotional after hearing how much he cares for someone else. Just then, Kotaro walks in, suspicious. He accuses them of digging for info just to laugh behind his back and demands to know who they have crushes on in return. The girls all glare at him, furious, because they all like him. Their intense silence makes Kotaro nervous. None of them realize, though, that the girl he fell for is a VTuber.